Despite Donald Trump's tariffs on pause, Canada still faces the most serious industrial threat it has ever come across. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau leading an economic summit in Toronto today with stakeholders and businesses to talk about the changing landscape of North American trade. Now, joining me now from the summit is Industry Minister François-Philippe. Minister, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. It's a very important day. Just flew in from Washington to be with our business leader, union leaders, making sure that, we restore business confidence. Canada is a great place to invest. That's the message I brought in Washington yesterday, saying, tariff is not the way to make life more affordable for citizens in North America. So therefore, let's work together. Let's open dialogue. And that's what we're doing today with the Prime Minister. Hundreds of people are gathered here. So it's going to be a great day for Canada.
While you were in Washington, did you personally get any meetings with the Trump team? And based on the conversations you were having, in your estimation, is it possible to escape the threat of these tariffs beyond the 30-day reprieve?
Well, we met a number of people. We met senators, business leaders. What I can tell you is that the tone has changed. People in Washington understand that tariffs would indeed, as we've been saying, would disrupt supply chain, make life more affordable, would have consequences for American. The message we've been bringing for months now, I think is being heard. Now it's U.S. CEO, U.S. business leader. You may remember the governor of Kentucky who said, what's going on? Farmers in Kentucky are being affected. Distilleries are closing. Hoarders are shutting down. He said, I thought this was about Canada. Why is now Kentucky having to suffer from this threat of tariffs? So I think that the tone is changing, and that's a good thing because, the Americans are always going to be a great trading partner. The rules of the game have changed, so that's why today it's going to be about how we diversify our economy, our industry, our export, how we make sure that we invest in our business to be competitive, to invest in automation, robotization. Canada has everything to succeed. We are a big magnet for talent. We have very large ecosystem. We make planes, we make cars, we have natural resources, we have critical minerals, we have energy. And we are the only G7 country with a free trade agreement with all the other G7 nations. So that put us in a strong place. And you know what? I'm always coming to Washington with a smile. I hope you're happy to see me because Canada is your largest customer. We buy more from the United States than China, Japan, the UK, and France combined. So it seems that the message is getting through. But you know what? No one has a crystal ball. What we can do is to redouble in our efforts to make sure that everyone understands that we're stronger together, that we need each other to have prosperity, to create jobs. And that's the message we're going to be bringing here in Toronto, but also across Canada.
And I want to talk about the summit in just a moment, but just to be clear, you didn't get the opportunity to bring that message directly to members of Trump's team.
No, I was in Congress because, some of the colleagues have not yet been confirmed. And there's I would say there's a rule or a tradition that until colleagues are confirmed, they will not really engage formally. So a number of my colleagues had informal discussion. But what I can say is that we were there meeting with senators, meeting with people in Congress, business leaders. And what I can say to Canadians, the tone has changed. And so this is a good thing. We're going to redouble our efforts. And today is a moment like that for Canada. I want an ambitious Canada. I want a confident Canada. I want a Canada that's going to be prosperous, and that's the message that we're going to bring here in I was about to say Washington, here in Toronto.
The goal of today's summit is, to find ways to make this economy more tariff-proof. But with respect, you have been in office for 9 years. Why has it taken a crisis of this magnitude for the government to, actually look at pursuing different avenues? Minister, just want to make sure.
I'm afraid I've lost you.
Can you hear me, Minister?
I think if you can repeat, that's going to be easier. I'm afraid I lost you.
For sure.
That's the pleasure of direct TV,
The joys of live TV. I just wanted to ask you, you have
been in... No, but I hear you now. Go ahead.
You have been in office, respectfully, for the past 9 years. Why has it taken a crisis of this magnitude for your government to actually pursue other avenues when looking to diversify trade? Like, this summit arguably should have happened 4 years ago.
Well, I think we need to do that all together. I think the rules of the game have changed. This is Canada's moment. I'm reminded a bit like what in 1945 with City Howe, when we rebuilt the industrial landscape of Canada. This is one of these moments where, you know, things that may have seemed very difficult to achieve now, Canada's coming together. You see hundreds of people here with the Prime Minister. The rules have changed, and so Canadians understand we need to bring our resources to market. We need to diversify our economy. We need to make sure at the same time that, you know, why not about a Canada First procurement policy? You know, making sure that in what we procure as governments that we give preferential treatment to Canadian businesses. We've been talking about internal trade barriers. I think if there was a time to do it, this is the moment. This is the moment. This is our moment as Canada. I think what may have happened over the last few days, it's kind of a wake-up call to make sure that we are more resilient and that we make sure that we build what needs to be done here in this country to succeed and to prosper. And that message, I would say, was heard in Washington. They understand that this has been a wake-up call and that we have options and that we're going to invest in our economy, we're going to diversify, we're going to be more competitive, and we're going to do things faster, smarter. You know, we're a relatively small nation, so we can do great things. We know how to do big things fast, and this is what you're going to be seeing.
While I take your point, I'll just leave on the note that something like interprovincial trade barriers has been an issue for decades, so it shouldn't have taken until now to address them. But unfortunately, I have to leave it there because I'm out of time. Minister François-Philippe Champagne, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for the conversation.